Let's do this. Welcome to Chaos Kitchen. Today we're making a curry. Today is Tuesday, which means it's CSA day, so I have tons of vegetables to work with, and I don't know what to do with them, so I figured curry would be a good way to use them all up. I love getting CSA because I eat a lot more vegetables, but finding something to do with them is hard for someone whose entire diet is basically bread. If you don't know what CSA stands for, it stands for Clandestine Society for Apples. Just kidding, I actually have no idea what it stands for. Basically, there's a farm that pulls together a bundle of vegetables and you get a delivery every week. I really like a curry. I feel like it falls into the same category for me as pizza or pasta, where there's a base to it, but then there's so much creativity that's allowed where you can kind of really make it your own. And so with curries, I'm always doing a base of generally garlic and onion, and then some chicken broth, and I like to include coconut milk. But other than that, it's sort of free game. Sometimes I'll put chicken in, sometimes I'll put different vegetables in. I roasted some squash before and I didn't know what to do with it, so I'm gonna throw that in here as well because I think it'd be great. And I have some leftover rice as well to add some grain and some texture to it. I'm gonna start by heating up the stove. So heat up your olive oil first. Burn your house down because you don't know how to ignite a stove. While the olive oil is heating up, I'm gonna cut up the garlic and the onion. I got some really beautiful looking onions from CSA today. As with all my cooking, this is very much hand wavy and no recipe. So when it comes to like, how much garlic do you put in? However much you want, enough. That's the unit of measurement here, enough garlic. I'm gonna do probably, I don't know, 8 cloves. And it turns out I don't know how to count, so I actually don't know how much that is. I think that's 8. So weird for me when I'm making videos mentally, it's almost like talking to someone in real life. And so I'll like get sweaty. It uses a lot of energy. So I don't know what to do about that, but you know, I am who I am. I have this ceramic knife, which I got, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And I was kind of skeptical because I'm pretty sure I saw it on TikTok and I was like, I'll try it out. But it's actually really nice. It's more fragile than stainless steel knives, so I don't generally cut carrots, for example, with it because I'm afraid it'll break. But the nice thing about it is it's pretty much always stays sharp, or at least for a much longer duration than stainless steel knives. I don't mind a bigger garlic chunk, but at the same time, I want a certain amount of distribution with them in the entire dish. So a happy medium there. Again, no rules. Just cut them enough. The garlic to cook out a tiny bit. I want it to be kind of fragrant. So I don't want it to be burnt by the time I put my onions in. And I turned it up way too high, and it probably is gonna burn anyway. Okay, do the onions. I'm assuming I can use these top parts, but I'm gonna process them a little separately just because they're gonna cook different. Should have broken my swimming goggles out because I am crying now. And this is not my typical onion. I actually don't know what this is. Ooh. Okay. It's actually quite nice, but I don't know why I expected it to be milder than a typical white onion. That's good. Check on my burnt garlic. Oh, and it actually is burnt. Speaking of vegetables, which I don't know about, I think this is an eggplant, but I'm not positive. I think that's one. Whenever there's a larger vegetable like this one, I'll throw it in before the step where I throw in the chicken broth and the coconut milk. I'm gonna slice these up, sort of cubes. Okay, I also have this, what I presume to be a zucchini. So again, gonna throw that in at this point. I don't know if you're supposed to take the skin off of this. I think it's fine. Just sort of bite-sized pieces. Again, when I'm cutting vegetables or really anything, I'm trying to think about the experience of the person eating it. And so, do you want this gigantic piece of vegetable, or do you want a more distributed bite where you kind of get a lot of everything? And I want these to simmer for a little bit, and then we're gonna move into phase 2 of this dish, which is basically adding some liquids. Oh no. Or. So here's what we've got going now. Looks like I'm making a cooking show of a serial killer, because there are never any lights on in my kitchen. Oh my goodness. Okay, at this point, since I've got a bit of browning on the eggplant and the zucchini, I'm gonna throw in my chicken broth. And the goal here is just to basically cover the vegetables. And at this phase 2, this is where you're gonna add all the spices in. So turn it up to high. You want it to get to a simmer before kind of let it sit for a sec. Hope I'm not forgetting any vegetables that I wanted. From my understanding, curry isn't actually a spice itself. It's a mixture of spices, I think centering primarily around cumin, so that's gonna be one of my main ingredients that I put in, or main spices. I like to add some turmeric to this, which I found out how to pronounce last year. I'm gonna add a bit of heat, so cayenne pepper, salt, pepper, your usual, and I like to add a little fennel seed as well. I don't think that's a flavor that a lot of people love, but I like it. So while this is coming to a simmer, I'm gonna start adding in the spices. If my face is shining, it's because I am indeed sweating. On its own, typically this isn't super flavorful without the spices added. And so you want to be a bit heavy-handed on them. And then when I mix this, I like to see it be a bit yellow. Again, just bringing this to a simmer right now. Once it gets to a simmer, we can turn it down and let these rest for a little bit. But I just literally poured red pepper or cayenne pepper in. Wouldn't be the first time. All right, what else can I throw in this? My potatoes. Depending on what you actually put in this, you may want to simmer it a bit longer. Like if you're cooking chicken in while simmering it, you're gonna want to let it go for a while. Here, all the vegetables are pretty much already cooked, so I'm not gonna simmer super long. I don't know about these. Yeah. Goodbye, potatoes. Get some mise en place going, why don't we? I feel like I need something else. So again, very loosey-goosey rules on when this is actually done. I mentioned about the chicken. If you're cooking something in it, you will obviously want to wait till that's done. Potatoes are going to take a bit longer. With something like this, I'm just going to use a piece of zucchini to test it. Ooh. And I want to make sure that it's not raw still, basically. That was actually pretty good. Add some more salt. You can always add more salt, but you can't take any out. Be careful with your salt. As for some modifications, if you're making this on your own, like I said, there's so many different things you can do with this. Sometimes I'll add in red bell peppers. I think a tomato is really lovely in this. You can add some cashews if you'd like. As a finishing touch to this, I think it's really nice to put on either green onions on top, put on some cilantro if you're preppy and uptight. And I think we're pretty much done. Turn down the vent fan in case you probably couldn't even hear me the whole time. I mean, I think that's fine. Probably don't want to hear me anyway. I think this is a great dish. Like I said, I make it a lot. I think it's a great way to use a ton of vegetables. I used zucchini, eggplant, squash, onions, garlic. gonna throw some dill on top. It's just a really great way to create a dish from different places. Create a dish that has a lot of different flavors, has a lot of different vegetables in it. I also already pretty much ate dinner, so this is entirely for show. I have to like just put a saran wrap on this and put it in my refrigerator. I also got some fresh dill from the farmer, so I'm gonna throw that on top too. Will it be good? I don't know. Will it look nice? Yeah. And there you have it, something that isn't bread that I'm eating. Thanks for watching Chaos Kitchen. Hope this was a good way to get you inspired. Again, I think that thanks for watching Chaos Kitchen. There's a fly. Thanks for watching Chaos Kitchen. I hope this was a good way to get you inspired to be creative and make a dish. Not all dishes have to have recipes or be really strict or cut up things to certain dimensions. Sometimes it's about just being creative and having fun in the kitchen. So see you next time.